Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about a really interesting situation here. We've got the CEO of Chicken Soup for the Soul.
And Crackle.
And Crackle. This is a guy that's running several streaming outlets, right? Saying that the only company that's getting it when it comes to streaming content and where to spend money is Warner Brothers under David Zaslav.
Which is in contradiction to what everybody else is screaming about.
Everybody else is like, you need to do more shows with more of this and more of that and for this audience and that audience. And he's like, no, you need to do shows that people watch.
And make money.
And I think we're going to see more, and I've talked about it before, the pivot to profit. I think we're going to see these streaming companies, out of necessity, pare down and be like, okay, you know what? We'll take one Stranger Things over 50 anti-racist baby shows or whatever. And this is why the shows that are getting canceled are getting canceled. It's not because these networks are racist or homophobic or whatever. They just know that the audience is very small.
Well, I think it's also indicative of how people are starting to feel about streaming services, because you have like Bob Chapek being flat out asked if it's quantity over quality, and him saying yes, and everybody can feel it. Like, you're getting all these shows that are clearly just shit out for, you know, more views, more eyeballs, more content, and they're not done well, and people are just like, I'm not watching that.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. I got to give a hat tip to Bounding into Comics that dug through this article and pulled this out of it, and this is a very interesting take. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over 277,000 subs. Oh, we got the yay. Where's your woohoo?
Woohoo!
There you go. She's a little slow on the woohoo today. It's been a long week. Anyway, so let's back it up a little bit. You know, Cartoon Network has been gutted. Other divisions at Warner have been gutted. Projects have been canceled. Somehow Velma survived, but I think
I know why that Velma survived.
Diversity Shield?
Yes.
Well, I think it was a combination of that, and they were too far along in production.
No, because they canceled Batwoman or whatever the hell it was.
She was not white.
Batgirl.
They're all the same. Batwoman, Batgirl.
I mean, they canceled.
Bat-birthing
They
person.
canceled that. But the thing is, that was done. They canceled other Scooby-Doo stuff, and they were done. Or almost done. So
yeah, there had to have been there's some reason that they're going forward with Velma.
Contractual.
It could be the contract too. It could be that it might have cost more to kill the show because it was Mindy Kaling.
Well, it probably has like a little clause. If it doesn't get aired, I get this much money.
And they're like, fine, just air the damn thing. One season, one and done. Boom. So people have been complaining. By people, I mean Twitter. Twitter has been complaining that it seems like Warner Brothers is targeting diverse and inclusive shows for cancellation.
No, it's because the last few years there's been an initiative and a narrative that you have to only go pick up these shows that are diverse and inclusive, that you have to change existing characters just for the sake of diversity. That's been building up for a few years. So now we're to a point where you've already gotten rid of most of the other shows. Now all that's left of these shows. So when they're canceling shows, of course there's going to be a statistically large number of these shows being canceled, just based on what you have left.
Yeah, so this is Bill Ruhana. I'm thinking they should call him Big Kahuna. Billy R, the Big Kahuna, Bill Rahuna, said that, yeah, they're the only ones that get it. So if you go down into the article here, in the entire streaming realm, this is what he says, Big Kahuna says, the only people I think who are speaking transparently are the Warner Brothers Discovery people. They've admitted what everybody knows. You have to exploit programming in every way humanly possible in order to get your money back. In order to get your money back. If you don't, you're gonna lose money. And you can only do that for so long. Roku is ponying up significant dollars for originals. It has assured anxious investors it'll curb the spending. They need to look at a risk mitigation strategy, not just a programming for our network strategy. They won't get their money back. They don't have an economic model that's going to make it valuable for them.
It's because you have this whole group of people who got themselves put in positions of power at different groups, at different Twitter studios, whatever. And all they're about is agenda, politics, and making everything political, and doesn't have to be good. And because of that, they don't care. Like they're just about making the shows they want to make. They don't care if it makes money. Like we're seeing all kinds of choices made across the board that make no sense. And it hurt the different, IPs or whatever, but it doesn't matter because it's about the idea, not the money.
That's it. And this is what happens when the venture capital was flowing freely, and when these networks were probably years ago like given ridiculous budgets, like, okay guys, we're going to give you $500 million, go do a content spend, or $1 billion, whatever it is, go get shows. So of course, they got the younger activist minded type people in there, and
they were cheaper too.
They were cheaper, and they're like, I'm going to call up my Tumblr friend and give them a show. Mm-hmm. They don't have any experience, but what the hell? There's lots of money. There's lots of free money.
And we'll get all our media friends to say how great and big and popular something is, even if the numbers aren't there. And we'll hide the numbers so they won't know that it's not. And then we'll tell investors that everything's fine.
So it's all starting to collapse. We're seeing it with the media. It was all bullshit. All of it was bullshit.
It's a hollow bunny.
It's a hollow bunny. You've talked about that.
I used to see it with webcomics all the time. These people would put this big show on that they're all this big thing and everything else, but they're hollow. It's like a chocolate bunny at Easter. You get a big bunny and you're like, oh my God, it's a chocolate bunny. I mean, if you're me, it's like, oh my God, it's chocolate. And then you bite into it and it's one of those cheap ass hollow bunnies that they're not even full of caramel or something good. It was just a hollow bunny because it's all a lie. Bunny's a lie. It's that.
It's probably Palmer chocolate on top of that. It's not even chocolate. It's like
cocoa butter.
Cocoa flavored wax. That's Palmer chocolate. It's disgusting.
But the hollow bunny, that's my hollow bunny theory.
Yeah, well, it's true, because what's going on? We're seeing now that the venture capital is running out, now that we're entering a recession and the money's drying up, that these media outlets that were artificially propped up, they're dying off, getting sold off. People are losing their jobs because like, oh shit, we were never going to recoup our money. Same with streaming. There was a big, upfront. They plowed a lot of money into shows, into content, and they stupidly thought, well, we can put anything on and people will watch it. And, the joke with Netflix especially was, they actually had a skit where somebody picked up the phone. They're like, hey, Netflix, your show's greenlit. How can I help you? Because they would greenlight anything because they thought they had infinite money. And now that they've got legit competition, they have to be a little more judicious with their spending. And we're going to see this everywhere. I think it's coming to comics too. I think we're going to see in comics where it's like, shit, we can't just do whatever to comics and not sell comics forever and expect the company to keep bankrolling this garbage. And it's basically a bunch of its fan fiction. And, we're seeing it now. So yeah, it's, I know people are pissed off about Cartoon Network getting gutted, but look at the shit they put out in the last couple of years. They are far from what they used to be. Look at the shit that Netflix has canceled. Look at the stuff that Warner Brothers is canceling and why they're canceling it. And it all comes down to, are we going to make money? Like, again, I hate to go back to Infinity Train, but that was a show that was a quality show, but also wasn't a marketable show. You couldn't make a lot of Infinity Train merchandise.
It's all about selling to little kids. That's why they're all switching to like Cocomelon level programming because they're trying to make money. That's Gabby's Dollhouse, Cocomelon, Bluey. These things are flying off the shelves.
Yeah, they are. I mean, those toys are selling like crazy. And, same with SpongeBob. SpongeBob stuff sells.
Always sells, yeah.
Teen Titans stuff sells. Teen Titans Go sucks, but the stuff sells. But do you see a lot of Gumball toys? I don't see. I mean, Gumball is a great show. I mean, there are some really good shows on Cartoon Network that got chopped. But at the end of the day, all they're looking at is, are we going to make money? And more companies need to do this. More companies are going to do this.
Companies can't stay in business if they don't have the money. That's what we've been saying for years, whether it be like this or about She-Ra or about comics or whatever. It's like, but it's not making money. So how are you going to stay in business? Eventually, it's all going to have to collapse. Journalism, pop culture, blogs. It all has to collapse because you can't keep putting this stuff out just to get your message out and not actually have the backing to support it. You can't keep just living on venture capital. You have to pay for yourself eventually.
Yeah, this is interesting too, because he's talking about Roku, and I actually watch more Roku TV than I do anything else at this point because it's free and there's more content on there than you could ever watch. But they said instead of putting their time and energy into producing original content, Roku needs to develop the same things we've been building: distribution capabilities, work with other people to get funding, knowing how to get things done in tax credit jurisdictions, do it on the cheap. But
Well, Disney does it though. They've been sending a lot of their filming to like Australia and stuff because they were getting all kinds of tax credits there. Newsom was promising tax credits to Hollywood, and suddenly he doesn't get booted out.
Yeah. You know, and it's like everybody was, you know, outraged over Georgia, but I'm still seeing that Georgia Peach at the end of Disney movies.
She-Hulk, Georgia Peach was there.
Georgia Peach was there.
How dare they? How very dare they?
Because money. At the end of the day, because money. This is exactly what we were saying. They said, here's what happened. They said they took what used to be 4 networks and they broke it into 20,000 pieces regarding pop culture. Basically, you don't have a large enough audience to sustain anything. Where's the audience? It's all over the place. We broke the industry up into too many pieces. If you don't approach the creation of original content as an exercise in monetizing content across all different media, you can't get your money back. I don't care who you are. There's not enough audience.
No.
And we've said this before, kind of the death of pop culture, why we don't have new things, I think, is because they know they can go back to the established brands, the Star Wars and the Marvel and Lord of the Rings and Doctor Who and all that, because they've already had the cred build up over decades. But new stuff, it's hard for it to take off because everybody's watching different stuff. It used to be, you know, we were kids, before cable. I remember a time before everybody had cable. We had 4 networks.
Right, and you watch what they gave you.
You watch what was on.
It was going to be pretty much a hit for cartoons for kids and stuff because that's what you had.
It's like, yeah, it was basically like, who's the top channel tonight? Is it NBC, CBS, whatever? Now it's like everything's on demand, everything's streaming. You're competing with YouTube and with podcasts and with, you know, every other social media app out there. And yeah, so the stuff you make has to make money back. You cannot sink $1 billion into a show that's basically a really expensive fanfic and expect to get all your money back. Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Was it Sauron, Galadriel, or Dating?
Apparently, yeah.
Fuck.
Don't know, didn't watch it.
Didn't watch it.
I saw someone do a recap of the show, and I turned the video off like a quarter of the way through, a third of the way through, because I was like, I can't stand to listen to any more of this shit.
So this is why they're focusing on rebooting old IP, because they know, everybody knows, you know, Bugs Bunny, but they don't know random Tumblr cartoon number 5,264.
That's right.
So are we going to wrap this up?
Yep.
Okay, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.